Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Now the Season 1 2025 build is here on iRacing, and in this video I'm going to cover a few things that I find interesting and obviously have a look at the new content. Now there's a lot to get through in this build, so let's just jump right in. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the graphics and an update to the colours. Forever I've had to do some colour correction when I edit my videos, but I don't think I'll have to do that now. I did some laps at Daytona on the old build and on the new build, and the difference is subtle, but I think you'll be able to see it. But it's more noticeable at Long Beach. I think there's a dramatic change in the colour for the better. So any gameplay that you see on this video, there's going to be no colour correction. That's how it looks from iRacing. So that's the first thumbs up from me for this build. Now the next thing I'm going to cover is the dynamic track and the debris. This has had a huge overhaul. So now the dynamic track will update with gravel, with grass, with mud, and that just doesn't go on the track and stay there. That can be moved by other cars. So as cars drive through the debris, the tyres will pick it up and throw it off elsewhere, but it's also moved by the aerodynamic properties of the car as they drive past. So if somebody was to make a mistake in the Global Mazda at Summit Point, for example, and make a real hash of trying to get back on track, they might leave a huge mess on the racetrack. But as you can see here, over 45 minutes, the racing line was cleared, and some of that debris had been moved another 20 metres up the track. That's been picked up by other cars and the wind from the other cars moving it elsewhere. Absolutely incredible, but it gets even better. Grip levels are reduced when there's debris on the track. So imagine you're in a Porsche Cup race at Monza. Somebody makes a mistake, goes off track going down to turn number 1, puts a load of debris on the track. You come into the braking zone. Absolute carnage, but realistic carnage, which is what we want. So that's a second big thumbs up from me. So there's lots of other small changes which are going to be in the release notes. So I'm not going to cover those, so we'll jump straight onto the new content. So the first piece of content that we're going to have a look at is Thruxton Circuit. Now Thruxton is based in Hampshire in England, and it's a former RAF base used during World War II, and it's a current active small airport. Established in 1968 and currently hosts the British touring cars, the British F4 and the British Superbikes. Built on the perimeter of the airport, 12 turns, 3.7 kilometres or 2.3 miles, and it's known as the fastest circuit in the UK. And yes, you can drive down the runway. The other circuit we've got this build is Hussett Speedway. Now this is a dirt oval in South Dakota, USA. Built in 1953 and named after the farmer and businessman Till Hussett. Now this track was built on former farmland, namely a soybean field. And it's hosted many of the top national series in the country, including the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series. So let's have a look at what I think is the best car in this build, and it's the BMW M2 CSR. The Club Sport Racing. Now this car is going to be free to all existing iRacing members, so we're not going to have to pay for it, which makes it even better. It's powered by a 3-litre V6 twin turbo engine producing 365 horsepower. So this car's had its own racing series for quite a while, and it's been supporting the DTM since 2021. But this car's got a really short wheelbase, which makes it incredible fun to drive. So let's have a listen. It's got a nice rasp. I'll give you a listen from outside. Sounds incredible. So, there's minimal aero on this car. It's got a front splitter and it's got an adjustable rear wing. You can make adjustments to the suspension, camber, etc. But because this is going to be a rookie car, I would imagine the series is going to be fixed. It's got dynamic stability control, which does a really good job actually of keeping the car in check, but still allowing it to move around a little bit. I mean, it's got quite a short wheelbase, so it can be challenging to drive. But this is going to teach all the fundamentals, I think, of racing, of car control. Because this is very much a mechanical grip car. You're going to have to get your head around weight transfer and how to balance the weight of the car and how to get the car settled for corners such as this to give you the best run through. It's going to teach you all the good stuff. It's going to teach you throttle control, because if you're not careful, this car will have you facing the wrong way very, very quickly indeed. So we'll try and get a benchmark in at Thruxton. Using the curbs here at Thruxton is key to a decent lap. So turn one, we're going to use the curb on the inside just to give us a decent run through, maybe a little bit of extra rotation, and then a fast left, and then the next right jumps up at you really quickly. You've got to start braking before you actually get the car straight. And then we're going to open up the left here, and then it's get on the gas, then we start accelerating now. This is a really fast circuit. The British Superbikes race around here, and it's so sketchy when you watch them around here. Use the curb on this fast left, just get the car rotated around, and then we're looking for the Marshall post on the right hand side. That's our apex. Try and accelerate, then we'll get a good run down the hill. Don't want to get on the gas too early there, because you'll be on the grass on the left. And then we've got this super fast right. This is where it's important to get the car settled nice and early, get the car turned in, then get on the gas, and then that might open up an overtaking opportunity into the final chicane. And there we go, that's a lap of Thruxton. That's a benchmark. And what do we get? A 20.767. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn off the dynamic stability control. I presume that's what DSC stands for. And we're going to turn that off. And then we're going to go around and see if we can beat our benchmark lap with no stability control. And you'll see it's a bit more tricky to drive, but a lot more fun. Right, let's try and set this lap up if we can. Where do we brake? Still trying to figure out my braking mark of this chicane. Right, let's try and open it up as much as we can. Use as much curb as we dare. Right. Can we beat this benchmark? And try and nail the braking for this turn. Gonna go slower than you think around here. We've got to be careful because we've got no traction control now. So it's the fastest stuff where we're probably going to gain. Looking for the Marshall post on the right, that's our apex. We're down at the minute. We're lucky to beat that actually. Gaining a tiny bit now. Oh, I've got enough track. No, saved it. Right, can we get a really good run through this chicane? It's going to be difficult, but a 10th down. Oh, we did beat it. There we go. A 20.6. Brilliant fun. What a car. This is going to be so popular. I need to get onto Tam Livery, get him to do my paint pronto, because this is going to be getting raced. So, two other cars in this build. They are the Gen 3 supercars, the Chevrolet Camaro and the Ford Mustang. Now, if you've purchased these cars in the last year, then you will get credits. But these are brand new cars built from the ground up. Obviously, the Ford Mustang's the best. I mean, this one looks just like my old one, apart from the rear wing. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I can drive a supercar, because I can't. So the lap you're going to see here is going to be slow. But it's just to give you a feel for what the car's like. And I've got to tell you, they sound incredible. We're in the Ford Mustang. Give you a listen. I mean, that revs so quickly. Give you a listen from outside. Now, these have always been difficult to drive. And although these are the Gen 3, they'll still kill you in a heartbeat. They've got a modern gearbox now, so you don't need to blip on the downshift. You can just click the downshift and it does it. I don't have any assists on. I've just got anti-stall on because I will spin, no doubt. But listen, and it winds up. Oh, that sounds good. So yeah, these cars are still really difficult to drive. A lot of the traits from the old supercars are carried over to these. So, like I mentioned, they will kill you in a heartbeat. Got to be so careful with the throttle. They're not, although this is a Ford Mustang, you can't compare it to the GT3 Ford Mustang. Nothing like it, nothing like it. This sounds better, but the brakes are worse, the suspension's worse. It's just worse, but better, if that makes sense. This is my kind of car. A car that moves around, a car that's got a lot of power, a car that's tricky to drive, that's a real challenge. I mean, it's so difficult. I mean, I nearly killed myself then. And I'm only going slow. Now this right down here, you would think it would be flat out. It isn't. But we're going to be hitting 270 kilometers an hour when we get there. So you've got to back off a bit. Just ease off. But if I can get a sub 213, I'd be happy. Let's try. I don't know how late you can brake in them. Let's experiment together. It sounds good though, doesn't it? It sounds really good. You've got to turn in much earlier than you think. I should have turned in a bit earlier there actually. Yeah, you've got to turn in much earlier than you think because it's not that responsive. I mean, they're absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. I mean, I tip my hat to anybody that can drive these cars fast. Is everybody all right? Little moment there. And I find this weird because it's a right-hand drive car, and obviously in real life my car's a right-hand drive because I'm in the UK, but I always struggle to drive anything right-hand drive in the simulator for some reason. I don't know why. Probably leave it in third gear there, actually. Right, what do we get? 212. 212. In my short practice earlier on, I couldn't get below 213. Beautiful. Right, Chevy Camaro. This is the first time driving this, genuinely. Not even been in it, started it, nothing. Let's have a listen. Sounds pretty good. Again, that revs quick. Let's have a listen from outside. Sounds good. No doubt it's going to be equally as difficult to drive. Visibility's worse in this car. Have a listen. Sounds more like the old supercar, doesn't it? The other generation. Yeah, this is going to be as bad. Well, saying as bad, as hard, should I say. So what did we get? A 212 something, didn't we, in the Mustang? See what we can do in the Camaro. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Actually, it doesn't feel as difficult to drive as the Mustang for some reason. As it near hits the barrier. So we're 270 odd, weren't we, when we approached this right-hander. Yeah, it's going to be, yeah, this might be a bit quicker actually, is it? Leave it in third. Maybe the mistake we were making in the Mustang was going down to second there. I think we'll need second for this one though. Yeah, it doesn't feel as hard to drive as the Mustang. Still difficult though. Just feels a bit more planted. Got to be so careful with your right foot. Yeah, anybody who drives these fast, well played, because it's difficult. There's a reason why you've never really seen these on the channel. Well, there's a couple of reasons. First reason is that nobody drives them really when I'm active online. Second reason is they're blooming difficult. Little skid for the fans. Sounds good though. It does sound good. I'm not going to lie, I thought that was way late there to brake. Turned in too late there. Right, what lap time have we got? 2:11. Blimey. I mean, that might just be because I did a couple of laps in the Mustang and I'm getting my eye in a little. So then we've got the Acura NSX GT3 Evo 22. So the NSX GT3 features a 3.5 litre V6 twin turbo engine producing about 520 horsepower. Right, first things first, a bit of a sound test. I think it sounds pretty good. I'd much rather have a V8 than a V6 though. So, let's get out there on track. So I've chosen Daytona because it's the natural habitat for a GT3 car on iRacing. We're going to have the Daytona 24 coming up. So we'll give it a whirl. So I'm just using the iRacing Daytona set. Car feels pretty stable. Reminds me a bit of the Ferrari. Similar traits, obviously. Bit of understeer on cold tyres. It's a little bit unstable, shall we say, on this setup going into the bus stop. Reminds me of the old McLaren. You know, when you used to get that lift-off oversteer. This has got similar traits with the iRacing setup anyway. Probably dial that out with a decent set. Not saying that the iRacing sets aren't decent, but you know, if somebody tinkers with the set to make that less likely to happen, so just this left turn when we're turning in. It feels pretty good. I think it sounds good. I think it looks beautiful. I think it's a really good looking GT3 car. Visibility is good as well. I love the Ford Mustang, but that big sun visor across the top ruins it. Visibility in this cockpit is really good, really good. So I think when I did my race at Daytona, I was lapping mid 44s, I think. Was it mid 44s? I think so. If we can get anywhere near that, if we can get into the 44s or low 45s on an iRacing set in a brand new car, I'd be happy with that. Depends how brave I am at the bus stop though. The traction coming out the turns is really good. Really good. That feels really planted, the back end. Maybe do with a little bit more pointiness at the front. But again, that could be dialed in with a setup. A bit of understeer mid bus stop there, but it's all right. We made it work just. We're not trying to go as quick as we can. I'm just giving you a look. But if we can get low 45s, I'll be happy with that. .45. What did we get? 45.1. So, yeah, not far off. So I think you'll agree this has been an absolutely mega build from iRacing. The content that has been released is top drawer. My favourite being the BMW M2. I think that's going to be an absolutely incredible car. Slow enough to keep the racing close, but quick enough to get you into trouble. The changes that they've made to the graphics is tremendous. It looks so much better. And the new debris, brilliant. Unfortunately, it would appear there's only one piece of free content. That's the BMW. The rest of them, you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket. Unless, of course, you own one of the supercars or you've bought that in the last year. Then you will get some credit. But I'm super happy with the build. Sometimes, you know what it's like. The build comes around and you're left a little bit deflated, wanting more. But this is excellent. But let me know down below in the comments what you think of the build. What are you going to buy, if anything? But I want to say a massive thank you to iRacing for giving me early access to the build. It's genuinely a real privilege. But as always, thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you later. Cheers.